Hey guys, welcome to the 5th installment in the Strength System Barbell Technique series. I have Chirag here with me to help me out with today's video. We're going to talk about the barbell sumo deadlift. We have already covered the barbell conventional deadlift, and we're going to talk about some primary differences between the two, why you would pick one over the other, and then go through the technique, the setup, and the execution of it. So first we're going to look at what a conventional deadlift might look like. Chirag is going to assume a hip width stance. He's going to get his hands outside his legs. So the hand position relative to the feet position is a primary difference between the two deadlifts. So relax. So now with the sumo deadlift, he's going to assume a wider stance. So you can start off around like 1.5 times your hip width and then adjust from there based on comfort. Now another thing he's going to do differently is turn his toes out more. From here, he's still going to take a grip that's above shoulder width. So his hands are going to end up between his legs. So this is in terms of visually, this is the primary difference between conventional and sumo deadlift. Now, physics-wise, the distance the bar has to travel, the distance the bar has to travel from the floor to lockout is reduced because of the wider stance. And apart from that, why would you pick one over the other? If your goals are general strength and health, you can try both out, see which one suits your deadlifting style, what feels more comfortable, and pick one based on that. It would also be a good idea to train both, just so that you have some variety in your training program. And we're going to go over the setup first. So we'll talk about feet width and then hand position. So to begin with, about 1.5 times your hip or shoulder width should be a good starting point. Now from there, you're going to turn your toes out more than you would for a conventional deadlift, where you assume a fairly straight foot position. From here, you're going to sit your hips back a little bit, push your knees out. So if you look at Chirag's position, his torso is a lot more upright than it would be in a conventional deadlift. From here, he's going to make sure his hands are straight down from the shoulder. A wider or a closer grip might make the distance the bar has to travel more, also make stability an issue. So while setting up, you also want to make sure that the bar is approximately over the middle of your foot. Now Chirag's going to set up and kind of show us a few different positions. So if you notice here, the bar is approximately over the middle of his foot. Some common mistakes that we see while setting up are setting up too close to the bar, where your shin is already touching the bar before you get down into position. And another common mistake would be setting up too far away from the bar, where you kind of have to pull the bar close to you and then lift it when you start the deadlift. Now neither of these are going to be very efficient. You want the bar to move in a straight line off the floor. You don't want to move forward or back, because that's going to be more work, and it's also going to throw off your technique. So as he sets up, as he takes his grip, he's going to make sure the bar is kind of over the middle of his foot, which would be, for example, if you were to wear shoes, where would the knot of the shoelace be? That's kind of where you want the bar, right over that spot. Right? Now, from here, Chirag's going to grab onto the bar. Now you can breathe and brace for a deadlift two ways. You can either breathe at the top, or you can take a big breath at the bottom once you take a grip on the bar. So while breathing in, you want to kind of make sure that you fill out your entire trunk in all 360 degrees. Imagine there is a rope around your trunk and you're trying to push out against the rope and break the rope in half, right? So you're going to take a big breath in and then tug against the bar. So if you notice, Chirag is kind of seeing a tight grip, making sure his elbows are locked out, and he's tugging on the bar by pulling his chest up before he starts the lift. This is going to allow him to leverage his body weight against the bar and make sure the bar moves up in a straight line, and he's able to move the bar very efficiently. Now, from here, at the bottom, while setting up, you want to make sure you engage your lats so that you're connected to the bar, because your hands and your lats are basically what connect the bar to your legs and your hips that are doing the work. So you want to make sure there is no loose setting up, so to say, so that there is no leakage of energy. So what Chirag's going to do is tug on the bar, he's going to pull his chest up and drive his hips towards the bars. So to sum up the setup and the start of the sumo deadlift, you're first going to assume a wide stance that is comfortable. Make sure your toes are slightly turned out. From here, you're going to drive your knees out, reach your hips back a little bit, and then from there, instead of bending over to grab the bar, you're going to squat down and make sure your chest stays down. Now from there, you're going to make sure you maintain a tight grip, make sure your elbows are locked out, and tug on the bar by pulling your chest up. From there, think about spreading the floor with your legs, and stand tall, drive your hips through to finish the deadlift. Relax. Now, while finishing the sumo deadlift, Some common errors we notice are not locking your hips out all the way. So you can see an aggressive knee lock at the top, but their hips will kind of stay behind the bar, and they won't necessarily stand or finish the deadlift. Relax. So unless you are competing in a powerlifting meet, does that really matter? Probably not. But it can lead to some instability at the top. It can take away how much effort you can put into the rest of your set if you're not able to finish and stabilize the roll at the top. So what you want to do when you finish the deadlift is, as you go up, so Chirag's going to stop the lift, he's going to think about driving his hips through, throwing his head back and standing tall to finish the lift. Now, this ensures all of his joints are locked out, his knees, his hips, and it's stable at the top, and that's going to allow him to set up for the next lift very well. So we're going to go over some common errors with the setup and the execution of the sumo deadlift. Now, a very common mistake to see is treating the sumo like a conventional deadlift, where you kind of get your feet in position, your legs are in position, but then instead of driving your hips close to the bar and getting your chest up, you set up your hips too high, you kind of pull from there and make it look like a wide conventional deadlift. So this fails to take advantage of the leverages that the sumo deadlift provides. So what you kind of want to do from there is Chirag's going to think about driving his knees out and his hips forward to the bar and getting his chest up. So that's going to allow him to get in a more upright position, and from there he's going to think about pushing the floor away and stand tall to finish the deadlift. Right? So the closer your hips are at the start of the deadlift, the lesser distance they have to travel, making it more efficient. Now another mistake that we see is not pushing the floor away with the legs and not trying to kind of spread the floor with the feet, right? So what's going to happen when you don't think about pushing with your feet is your knees are going to cave in, your hips are going to rise up, and then you're going to stand tall and finish the lift, right? So from here, now on the next step, Chirag's going to think about pushing the floor away with his legs and kind of spreading the floor with his feet. Then he's going to drive his hips through, stand tall and finish. So that's going to kind of help you to maintain tension through the inside of your thighs and your hips, so that you're able to stay tall and finish the lift. Now, another common mistake would be setting up with the hips too low. So in an effort to get the torso in an upright position and get his chest up, Chirag is kind of going to push the bar away with his shins, drop his hips too low, almost like a squat. Now from here, when he tries to lift the bar, there's enough weight on it, it's going to throw him off position, the bar is going to get away from him, his hips are going to rise up, and then he's going to finish the lift. So to kind of work on this, what you want to think about is getting your hips forward to the bar, not necessarily squatting down, right? So you're going to stop when your shins meet the bar, and from there, just going to put his chest up and stand tall to finish the lift. So when should you do the sumo deadlift? There are no real hard and fast rules to this. You can try this out during your next deadlift session, unless you have a powerlifting competition coming up and you've trained the conventional. There's no real reason not to train sumo. One thing that I would definitely like to talk about with the sumo deadlift is while figuring out your stance initially, jumping into an ultra wide stance right at the beginning before you've done any sumo stance work might not be very tolerable for most people. You might develop some groin strain or inside knee strain. So a better approach might be to start off, like we spoke about at the beginning of the video, somewhere around 1.5 times hip or shoulder width with like a reasonable amount of toe out angle, and progress from there over a period of time as you develop the skill to sumo deadlift. Apart from this, I think the common narrative is that sumo deadlift is cheating. It's most definitely not. It's just a different skill. Just because the bar travels slightly lesser distance doesn't make it cheating. So try the sumo deadlift out. Tag us if you want any form check. Tag us on Instagram. And thanks for watching.